Oh, anyone like a quick group, or perhaps you could get it? No? Well, we might move on to Sue then, noting the time over east, of course, is marching on. As I said, Sue's developer of the Parks and Peaks app, and I've used it. It's absolutely outstanding. Also on the team that helps do the beta testing for Sue, but it's an absolutely outstanding app, and we're delighted to welcome you tonight, Sue, to tell us a little bit about the app, and we have got the cheat sheets that you sent across, so everyone's had an opportunity to look at that, so we are well briefed. Over to you, Sue.
So hopefully you can hear me okay. I'll just share my screen. Share over to here. Yep. Okay, everyone see that?
Yes. Yep.
Right, now first of all, I'll just do a quick talk about me. Not that I like talking about me very often, but since Paul did it, I think I should do it. Hi, Paul, as well. I started studying for my amateur licence in the late 70s and got my full call back then. That then made me realise I could do anything I wanted with my life. And I got involved in, went to college and studied computing, which completely turned my life around. And I was in the early 80s, so I was studying computing when Bill Gates was probably still working out of his shed. So I've seen a lot of changes over the years, and I became an IT manager. I also became an analyst programmer and a data analyst, and did that for about nearly 35 years. Just before I retired, I was looking for something to do because my husband used to be a GP and he worked very long hours, and I'm not one to sit in front of the TV, so I was always looking for things to do while he was working. And I decided I wanted to learn how to write an app, which was a new thing for me. So I tossed my Windows machine, bought a Mac, and then I came across some kind of blog or site, something on a site somewhere that said, we're looking for an iOS programmer for Parks and Peaks. And so I put my hand up. I think Alan Harvey wasn't sure. But anyway, he stuck with me. He was really good. And it took a long time. This was about 2015, I think. But I was a new kid on the block too. So there was already Peter's Android app, but nobody had an iOS app for iPhones and iPads. So that's why I developed this one. And it's been keeping me very busy now that I'm retired even, upgrading it and doing new things in it. So I thought I would talk about how some Western Australian sites, because I've set myself up to be near Mandurah. Now I want to see those on the map, so I go into the map, and there they are on the map, and I can click on one and it will show me more details about the site, even the Shire ID, etc., etc. The next thing I want to do is, I'm not happy, I don't really want to go around Mandurah to look for sites. So I'm going to go off, this is, by the way, this is a beta version of the app. This is the newest version, and it's not on the App Store yet. And this functionality I'm going to show you now is very new. So I'm going to go out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm just going to press on the map for a second, and it will show me all the sites around where I pressed. And I can say, well, I wouldn't mind doing that site, Beeloo National Park, because I'm going in the caravan. I want to make sure that I can do as many parks and peaks as possible. And what I want to do is keep all of these. So I can press record at the top, and it will show me a list of all of those. And then I'm going to export them to a CSV file. And you can find these things. Got to go and find the home button for my screen. Yep. Oh, there it is. So this is a simulator I'm using. It's not, you know, you're not looking at a real iPad or iPhone. It's actually the simulator that I'm running at the moment. There's a thing called the Files app. So I press on the Files app. There is a Parks and Peaks directory or folder. There's a Reports folder, and this is the one that I just did, selected sites, and it will give me a CSV file of everything that I want to think about activating. It shows you the distance from where you selected on the map and the distance from you currently. So it's also showing what your current location is up here, and what radius you used. Well, it's got 32, and your selected location. So that will give you your plans for your caravan trip. So I close that and go back to Parks and Peaks. I'm going to go back to the home screen again, and I'll start Parks and Peaks again. So that's how to plan for your caravan trip and your activation. And that's what my husband and I did with our caravan. We went to Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula, Maree and all over. Then we went to Queensland. Yeah, we didn't do any activations on the way to Queensland, but we did a lot on Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula, etc. So now we've got our list of what we want to do. We'll go and now we're coming to the day before the activation. I'm going to add, move this. I'm just going to turn myself off for a second. Is it stop video? I think it is. Yeah, stop video, is that? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to add an alert. This is the add alert screen, and these are good to let people know that you are going to be there on the day, and they'll start looking for you. As Paul said, although this one doesn't create sounds, as soon as you put up a spot and the sounds come out, and I'm one of them, they'll be there sitting by the radio ready to pounce on you. Because this app does produce sounds as well, so you might get a fright at some stage. So I'll put today's date. Sorry?
Hello. We're just talking about the kookaburra sound.
Yeah, well, my app does that, so yeah, it drives you nuts after a while, but you can turn them off. Then you've got the site ID, so I'm going to go into search. Now I'm going to go and do Matilda Bay Reserve, which I believe Paul and Hans did together. So I'm going to search for, I've only got part reference, 2825. Oops, 2825. There it is. I'll select that, and it's now put it into the alert. The frequency will be, I think, 7.144, but it might be, you know, slightly off to that, depending on who's using it. And I'll have to put in testing, please ignore, because this is going live to Parks and Peaks. Save it. Been a bit slow tonight. Makes a sound to say yes, it's gone. You can also save some alerts if you haven't got any internet, and you can find those in here. Now it's come to the day of the activation. I'm just going to go, because the things are a bit slow today. There it is. There's my alert, Matilda Bay Reserve. Now I'm going to go to the spots list because, now it's come to the day of the activation. I've got to add a spot, but I'm too lazy to do that. So I'm just going to grab my alert, pull it to the right, and press this little button here called Log Spot. And it's got all my details, what side I'm on. And I'm going to say, yes, I'm definitely on 7144. I'll put a testing, please ignore, so nobody will go berserk. And I will create a spot. I don't need to save to log at this stage. And I can also create an SMS if I haven't got much in the way of internet. I haven't had any reports yet of anyone who's using that, but I know they are. So I'll save that. And now I'll go to the spot screen, and there's my spot. Now, further down the track, in about an hour's time, if nobody's calling me or answering me, I can then create another spot using my spot, and that's called a respot. So same deal. It's got all the information you need, so I don't need to do that right now. So now it's time for me to enter some details into the log. I'm going to start an activation with the A button at the top. I am the activator. It's got my call sign there, it's got the time and everything. So now I'll go and get a site, and I'll use that same site, 28.25. Search. It's got the VKFF reference. I'm definitely on 7.144. And I'm going to put VK6 GHD. It knows his name. We both give each other 5 and 9 because we're so strong. Now, Jeff is sitting at home at this stage. So it's just going to be me doing the activation, and he's not in the park anywhere. I could create a spot at this time if I wanted to as well. So I'll save that to the log. And now I've got all my details still there, and it's now waiting for me to enter another hunter. So along comes another hunter, VK2KI. Oh, haven't got Mark's. No, it's Mark, isn't it? Yeah. We're also 5 and 9 because VK2's been romping in lately. And this time he's going to be on a site. So I'll go and get another site, which is, you don't need to enter the full thing. You can just put in 1971 or even less than that if you want. Search, I'm going to the Mandurah Nature Reserve, which is near Mark's Place, or not far from Mark's Place anyway. Another, I don't need to put anything like that there. Everything's ready to go, save, and now it's waiting for another 100 call. So that's how fast it is. When you're out there and you've got a big dog pile or pile up, you only need to enter their call 59 or whatever their RST was. And if they were in another site, you can go and search for the site by just entering a few letters. So that's the end of my activation for now. I'll go to cancel, and now I've got 2 records in my log. I can edit those records and look at what the activator was, all the information. If you're wondering what a SIP is, it's my short code for Summit in a Park. This app will create 2 records for a Summit in a Park, one for the summit and one for the park, so that you get your SOTA record and you get your WWFF record as well. And they then turn up in different logs. You can save it, or I'll just cancel because I didn't make a change. So I've got my 2 records. I can delete if I want by pulling to the left. I can basically look at, well, they're all WWF anyway. Now, there's also hunting and chasing, which I won't go into, but it's similar. And of course, you're not under the pump. So you can take your time to enter a little bit more information.
Just on that, Sue, just for some of you benefit who I know aren't going out portable at Don, that the hunter is exactly the same as the activator, but those are the same.
The hunter is VK2KI and VK6JHD, and I am the activator. So the activator's information is on the left, and the hunter's information, or the chaser. If I do a SOTA one, I might do a SOTA one as well, just to show you. I'll make it VK5PAS. This time, I'm going to be on a SOTA site, VK5, and I always go to St. Mary's Peak, because I've climbed it so many times. Not really. And Paul is on a SOTA site. What's your favourite site, Paul?
Oh, Mount Lofty.
All right. Lofty. There's Mount Lofty. I could have just put in loft and it would have found it. So now we've got a summit to summit. Oh, is Mount Lofty got a park in it?
It is, yeah.
I'm not sure if this, I'm not sure if that one has. I'm just going to check. Right, search. You can always see the ones that have got a park. They've got a VKFF reference as well as the SOTA reference. So yes, it's in a park. So now I will save that. Oh, and then cancel because I've finished my activation. And now I have VK5PAS in his and me, both in Park to Park. And I also have Paul and myself as Summit to Summit. So it's created 2 records for that activation. So when I create my log, I can send that off. And when I create, and it'll create both the WFF log and the SOTA log. Okay, so next thing I need to do, because I've finished that and I'm going to send my log off, is analyze logs. Now this will tell you all the information about your logs. There I am up the top. I've got 4 activated logs. And so now I'm going, you can print a report before you send it, so you can check it if you want. But I'm going to just press the export button. It tells you when the last export was, and then I'll go to view logs. And here's my ADIF files. This is the Worldwide Flora and Fauna ADIF file. and here's the SOTA ADIF file. I deal with ADIF files. I don't deal with the CSVs, but there is an all file, so you can transfer it to another program if you want. It gives you all the information you need. So I'll just have a look at the Worldwide Flora and Fauna one. You can view file down here. And there we have 2 records. One for, this is me as the activator. So that's me talking to Jeff and Mark. Then there's I-176, that was the St. Mary's Peak, and there's VK5AYL. And there's his park as well. So we're on a park. This is a park to park, because I'm in a park. Gosh, I can't read these things. I can read them, but yeah, anyway, that's Paul's park. And then if I go to the SOTA ADIF and view the file, there's me again, and there's my SOTA reference, and there's Paul's SOTA reference. So everything is there, and then once you select the log, you then email it. Now I can't email on the simulator. That I have to do that on my phone or on my iPad. But you can email one log at a time. I have got another thing here which hasn't been working properly, so I'm still working on that, which allows you to send, multiple logs. But at this stage, you can just send one log at a time. So you just email them off, and they go to the relevant people. Now, if you go to settings, down the bottom, there's all the email addresses. So I've got Paul in there for the WWFF. SOTA, I always do my own uploading, excuse me. And so when you email a log, it will include for SOTA logs, whatever you've got as the email address there, and for WFF, it includes whatever you have there. So it organises that all together. So that's pretty much all there is. I mean, there's a heck of a lot more, and if you want to go to my website, which is vk5ayl.com, there's the story about how I started, and also all the things that all the traps I fell into along the way. It was very difficult starting from the beginning, but now I'm, so many years down the track with iOS development that I'm actually headhunted every week by people looking for programmers. I call myself a software engineer now because I'm doing a lot of stuff with it. And I have to turn them down because I'm retired. They want me in Adelaide, they want me in Sydney, and I just say no. So, which is a bit of a shame because I'd love to still do a bit of work and would like to, work from home really. But at this stage, I'm just enjoying, doing the app, traveling, doing some parts and all that sort of thing. So, so that's it. Has anybody got any questions? I'll just put my picture back up.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sue. And before you get rid of the picture again, and before I throw it open, I know Mark will be itching to ask a question, as am I. Both of us have tried to send the logs to Hans, and there's an issue when you send the log, it disappears out of out of your QSO log window. Is it gone for good? Can you get it back? Is it where's it gone?
No, once you, if you go into Analyze Log, you'll notice I've actually put some text under these buttons, Mark, too, so that you can understand them a bit better. As long as you've got a last export string there, you can press this unexport button up the top there, and it will bring them all back. So if I go into my log, there they are. So I did that because, you know, sometimes your logs get sent off to log search or you know, Paul, etc. And they'll come back and say, you've got a problem with your log. So I just undo it, fix the problem and send it again. And it's just that easy.
But then
So,
once you've sent that, you've overwritten whatever was there, the log before. Was that, does it keep you know, logs from weeks, months, years ago? Or
no, well, yeah, I can't remember what I've done with that. No, I think it keeps them until you press the delete button on the Analyze log. So if you go to here, you see a delete button, and I can bring it up because it confirms everything. Are you sure you want to delete log records sent? So that's when they disappear for good. Otherwise, they'll just stay there, and I have unexported before, you know, 2 or 3 times, but really, yeah, I'd probably better if you make sure that you've done your logs, you know, that they've got through without error, and then you can remove them altogether. But they sit there for a long time until you press that delete button.
So if you wanted to bring back an earlier log, not just the last one, but like an earlier log because you buggered it up, you know, need to change something.
Yeah.
Can you bring it back into this log screen?
Yes, it'll come back into the log screen.
But how do you actually select an earlier version?
Oh, you just do that undo. The unexport will go and get, it'll keep going backwards. Well, it should, anyway.
Okay.
It keeps going backwards and it'll keep going, showing you. Yeah. Now, I haven't tested that for a long time, but I know it used to work. So before I release this version, I might check that, just make sure.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
while you're on that screen, Sue.
Sorry?
While you're on that screen.
Yeah.
On the bottom log entry, it says A2H, so that presumably that's activator to hunter.
Yep, that's right.
What's A2C?
Activator to chaser. So
we
haven't got an A to C, have we?
No, but okay. So that's for a SOTA.
Yeah.
Right.
So A to C is chaser, and you'll notice that some of the wording gets changed. Maybe not here. Oh yes, see hunter call. If it's a SOTA, it will say chaser call and things like that. I've had to do a bit of smart work to. The same with the hunter site. It'll say chaser site. So if we go into Paul's, into this one perhaps. Yeah, so you've got chaser call, chaser site. So it knows, you know, it's smart enough to know that it's a SOTA thing, and therefore it will change the wording to indicate chaser or hunter.
Okay. I've got 2 more questions if I can.
Yeah.
So when you make a spot or activator entry, alerts entry on Parks and Peaks, or on iParksnPeaks, presumably it cross feeds automatically to Peter's portal log. and to the Parks and Peaks website. Is that right?
It goes to the Parks and Peaks website,
Yeah.
and that's where Peter gets his data from as well.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So if you create an alert or a spot,
Yep.
it will, you know, Peter will be able to see it. Anyone who downloads data from Parks and Peaks, which is where I get my data from,
Yep.
will see it. The other thing I was going to show you too, if yeah, I'll do the alert, I think. No, that's invalid because it's not today. But I'll do this just to show you. If, for example, in fact, I'll go to spots. If, for example, that was another activator, and you wanted to record them in your log, you just pull them to the right, press the log spot button, create and save to log 5959, save. That's it. Now if I go to the log, there's my new record. So it's very easy to create log items from, and you can do that with alerts as well. If they've only created an alert before they went out, but they're having trouble getting any internet out, they might say on here, please spot, but they might have created an alert, you know, a couple of days beforehand. So I can pull them across, put them in the log. I know what frequency they're on now. Put them in the log, give them a signal strength and save. And that's now in the log as well, I think. Yeah, 2825. So yeah, so it's very quick, very, very quick. The activation screen only requires you to enter the hunter call, the signal reports, and their site. That's it. You can put comments in if you want, but there's those few fields make all the difference because everything else is here already. It's not going to change unless you change where you are. And you can just, you know, it's a continuous screen, so it keeps coming back to the hunter call every time, and you can just keep going round and round and round. And when you finish, and make sure you save it every time, and when you finish, you just cancel out, and you've got all your logged items there. So yeah.
So if you're logging or using the logging system, but like Paul, you're using a piece of paper and then, you know, you go back to the car and you enter it in the car, you can actually change the times. Is that right?
You can, if you're entering it. Yes, you can change the times when you're entering it. If you go home and you enter them, you can put the times in at that time. So you have to record. You have to write down the time as well. So you can change that in there.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I actually take a pen and pencil and paper out with me, because if you get in a big pile up, and I had to laugh at Paul's, if you like being a centre of a pile up. I love being a centre of a pile up. I've been handling pile ups for many years, back in the DX days, and they're starting to come back again too, by the way. Yeah, so if you're in a pile up and you hear people calling, but you're only here, you can only put one person on here, then you write them down quickly. In fact, I actually write down every call sign that I get, so that if I need to, I can go back and check them later, to make sure. And I seem to be able to do that without any problems. I use this for logging, and I also write it down quickly. I don't write VK5, whatever. I write down 5 and then the last letters, and that's enough to get me by. Maybe there receive and send RST. But yeah.
I actually have two more questions, Sue. Sorry to keep sort of hogging.
No, that's fine.
So what like a few people, I'm sort of struggling with CW and you know, trying to get my CW unrusty by getting involved with you know, chasing people who are operating CW. So what that means is sometimes I hear somebody who is operating from a park or a peak, but they haven't been spotted or they're not shown as an activator. So I actually don't know where they are. And with CW, you know, it takes a bloody long time to get all that information. Without that site details, I can't put it in the log.
No.
So
without their site details. So if
without their site details, that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's right. If you're the activator as well, you can put your stuff in and send the log in.
But if
you don't know their site, it's difficult. Yeah.
Right. So
the other thing is that I think, you know, from what Alan Harvey's told me, because he does a lot of CW, he finds it very difficult using UniApp when he's doing CW because he uses his right hand to do the keying. So that does present some issues. I don't know how to get around that unless you want to choose.
You could be ambidextrous like me. I can.
Well, you can actually use your voice. I haven't set it up like that, but I can turn it on so that you can use your voice instead of having to write everything down. So that's, you know, something to think about for the future. I'm always pushing boundaries. Because the accessibility functionality in iOS is outstanding. So that's, you know, perhaps something we can do in the future.
Yep. Okay. Last question from me.
Yep.
So when you put in that test spot before, I respotted you as a test just to see how it worked. If I want to now delete that because I actually, like I've done before, I've accidentally put my own call sign down, for instance, instead of somebody else's. Can I delete that spot?
So did you put that in your log? Because it's not on my spots list here.
Yes, it is. It's up the top.
Oh.
So I put that in.
Oh, did you? Okay. Oh, well, I can put you in the log now.
but
I can also spot you again if you want.
But if I did that by mistake,
yeah.
As I said, I've accidentally put my own call sign down instead of, you know, whoever I'm spotting.
Yeah.
Now, can I delete that?
Not from here, you can't.
Right.
Alan and I haven't got that part working together.
Okay.
But you can go to, I'll show you something in a minute. Let me see. You can go to PARksnPeaks.org.
Right. Yep.
No, can't find server.
Because it's spelt wrong. You've got PAARKS.
Oh, right.
That'd do it.
Yep.
There you go.
So fortunately, I'm still logged in, which is good. What happened then? Here we are. So if you go to VK Spots, here's the spots here. And you can
delete spot, right.
Spot. Just put, you can only delete your own spots, nobody else's.
Okay, got it.
So nobody else wants to see my spot again, I'll delete it. So press delete and go back to VK Spots and it's just yours there. Yeah. So you have to delete that.
Yep, okay. Fantastic, thank you.
Yep. So I've got to go back to where I was.
If you just
Actually, I was going to show you those two sites that I found, I did a bit of homework and found Paul's blog for Matilda Bay Reserve. I meant to say that when you first start planning your trips, go and look for blogs for the sites you're planning to visit, because Paul and others have a wealth of information here, including, you know, how to get into the site, all sorts of bits of interesting history, etc., etc. I've also got...
You've got too much time on your hands, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, I think Maria helps out a lot here. I also got this one here, which was Merton Glass, VK6 FMTG. He did a SOTA site, which was Mount Dale. So he's got all sorts of stuff there. So he's got, you know, how he got in there, and
which is important for Mount Dale, in fact.
Yeah, probably is too. So, you know, these are the things that activators rely on, because you know, when you first go out activating, if you can find a place where someone else has been, and I'm not sure how many there are in VK6 because I haven't really found a lot.
Sue, Hans was very kind to provide us with some of the details for a lot of the parks that we went to. And I guess the ones around where we are here in Mandurah, Hans has been to most of them already, and is, if he hasn't provided us already with the maps, could probably tell us how to do it. So, yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to add a little bit more there. In Parks and Peaks, under the Parks heading, additional information about the parks. When I do a park, I actually go to that area and I actually write up how I got in there or where it was that I went to.
So in here you mean?
Under Parks.
Click on Parks, Sue.
Yeah.
And then
the park ID.
Yeah.
What's a park ID?
Oh, VKFF 2975.
Do I have to put the whole thing in?
Yeah.
Or can I do a partial?
Hyphen 2975.
2975.
Just for those of you that are not following what's going on, what's
And then scroll down.
Yeah.
So you don't need the app on your phone. She's on the internet with the URL. So even if you don't have an iPhone, you can get all this information on the internet.
It's further down, I think, right down the bottom.
Yeah.
Additional park information.
Yeah.
And
no additional park data.
Huh? Oh,
No.
I haven't done that one.
Yeah.
But,
no, that's good. I didn't know that Alan had all of that stuff on there.
I make a point of doing it. I'll have to do that one.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few.
It's 2975. Did I put the wrong site in? Did I?
297. No, that's correct. Helena River.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, there's lots of wealth of information here. And so basically my app is to allow people, because this is hard to read on a phone. So my app, as well as Peter's app, allows people to see all of the data on here on a small screen, because, you know, we formatted it to show it.
Just on that too, sir, you're talking about Peter's app. I think Peter's app is the app for the Androids.
Yes, that's right. VK Portalog.
And Mark, I think we've made contact with Peter, haven't we? And he's going to talk next month.
He won't be able to do it next month, but he said after the once the rest of Australia catches up with Western Australia and we get rid of daylight saving, which I think is in April, he will be able to do it. So probably April.
Anyway, for those that were asking about an Android app, there is the Android app that does the same thing. And if you have either of those, you can get all the information from the internet on the website. That's great. Look,
Can I just say one thing quickly about spotting and alerting? that's tied up with Sue's app and Parks and Peaks. And I guess most people are aware of the DX cluster. And there's actually a DX code of conduct which tries to, get amateurs to behave responsibly, but there's also a DX code of conduct, and that's mostly because of the pile-ups that come out of Europe, I think. But there's also a DX code of conduct for the DX cluster, believe it or not. And one of the points in that DX code of conduct for the DX cluster is that you're not allowed to spot yourself. All right. So if I'm sitting at home here in my shack, there is the ability that you can spot yourself, but I can assure you, if you do that, next thing you'll get 5 or 6 people coming back with smart aleck comments on the DX cluster saying, you're numpty, you're not allowed to spot yourself on the DX cluster. However, for SOTA and WWFF activators, it is completely allowable and accepted around the world to self-spot yourself, because the difference is you're often running flea power with a little portable antenna out in the middle of nowhere, as opposed to at home running your 400 watts or your kilowatt and your 5 element Yagi. So as Sue said, if I was going out into a park tomorrow, I would put an alert on Parks and Peaks to say that I'm going to be there at a particular time and a particular frequency, and that's where all those desperados check Parks and Peaks the night before, and then they're waiting for you. But if I happen to go out and 7144 is busy, and I move down the bands to 7135 and I call CQ for 10 minutes and I get no takers, it's perfectly allowable for me to self-spot myself on Parks and Peaks to say that I'm now on this frequency. If you do it at home, you'll get all these keyboard warriors telling you off. But if you're in a park or in a SOTA summit, it's perfectly allowable.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Sue, for the presentation and for the app. And once again, with questions, there's probably a few more, and probably after you've gone home and had a think about it, have some more questions. So for both Sue and for Paul, if you've got them, as I said, if you just email the group as well, so that that we all know any questions that you've asked and we can get those answers. So thank you very much to both Paul and Sue for coming along tonight and staying. I see from the timestamp that it's 2300 over in the VK5 land, and I think one of you, at least Paul, you've got to work for a living, so
not for much longer.
Yeah, we'd love you to stay. I mean, it's going to be it was always going to be a long night tonight, because the next presentation really follows on from the portable, the emphasis that we're placing on portable ops, and that's CW, and our very own Tony is going to give a presentation on CW, and Tony has been around a while. In fact, taught Marconi how to use Morse code, so yeah, he's pretty much the expert, and a few of us are already working up our Morse code, certainly Mark and myself. My problem is that I learned it 45 years ago by flashing light when I joined the Navy, and transferring flashing light to dits and dars is a little problematic. But we are we're focused on CW. We're focused on having our first contest in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And without stealing Tony's thunder, Tony shortly will be hosting an on-air CW practice on the local repeater. No?
Simplex.
Sorry?
Simplex, don't use repeater.
Simplex, oh, okay. On Simplex then. Anyway, so local practice to help get us up to speed. So Tony, do you need time to set up, mate? Or
Oh no, I can sort of do it as I go.
You can do it as you go.
Play it by ear, yeah.
Yes. All right, well, without any further ado, for those that are on air. Tony, if you'd like to take it for.
I need to bow out. So I will say thank you very much. And also Paul and Sue for the excellent presentation. Quite enjoyed it. And good evening to everyone.
All right, Hans. Well, look, thanks for coming tonight, mate, and thanks again for your support over the last couple of months and assistance. And we'll be calling on you again. I don't know if I sent you the dates of the proposed portable field days. If not, I will do so. Actually, we've got to mark down in our calendar for the next 6 or 8 months, and we'd love for you to join us in whatever way you can.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no worries. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, mate. Good.